Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion. Guys, we are talking Winning Time, the rise of the Lakers dynasty, season 2, episode 1, titled One Ring Don't Make a Dynasty. As the Lakers enter a new season, Bus bets big on his players and children. An on-court injury threatens the team's future. Guys, I want to let you know that this is going to be a spoiler-filled recap, okay? I'm going to spoil this up, down, left, right, in, and out. As you've already seen it, you have been warned. And this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Become part of the JMOS family, helping me reach that next milestone of 50,000 subscribers. Also, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below on what you thought about the episode and also my commentary. Now, I was late to the party when it does come to Winning Time. The first person I ever heard on the planet talking about this show and recommending it is Elliot with Movie Files. So shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. You told me to get on this bus a long time ago, and I was just like, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna watch this, I'm gonna watch that, but I finally got on the bus, and I'm really glad I did. And also shout out to you, Tyler, with Reviewz TV, because you was also putting a bug in my ear with this show. And so thank you guys for doing that. I really do appreciate it, because I was late to the party, but better late than never. And I am so glad that I was able to arrive, because I really did enjoy the first season, and I really do like what this first episode of season 2 is delivering us. As we know what happened at the end of season 1, that final episode, the Lakers got another W at the NBA championships, winning the whole thing for 1980s against the Philadelphia 76ers. But now in this first episode right here, it's jumping forward 4 years. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. What happened to 81, 82, 83? And now we're in 84. Maybe we're going to find out. But this episode starts off in game 1, facing off their rival, the Boston Celtics, and that is another dynasty in itself. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird appeared in the NBA at the same time, and they was going back and forth for Rookie of the Year, and they are rivals to my understanding. And I do like sports, guys, but I'm not like some sports aficionado, some super duper expert. Of course, I've heard of Larry Bird and Kareem and Magic Johnson, but I am not an expert. And so what I'm doing while I'm watching this show is kind of struggling about how much research I want to do versus finding out all this history by watching the show. I know this is a dramatization and everything is not 100% accurate. And one fact I'll give you here in just a moment, but I really am entertained, and I think I don't want to do that much research because I do want to be surprised. One prime example is in this first episode of season 1, when they said that this was in game 1 where the fans did attack the bus. In real life, it was not game 1, it was game 7 to be exact. Like, the Lakers bus was really rocked by hundreds of Celtics fans. And Magic Johnson said in one of his memoirs that the cops had to go break up the mob, and they was actually frightened on the bus. When you see this episode, it seemed like they was kind of laughing and trolling at the fans, like, oh, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, da, 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 da. But that's not necessarily the case. Yes, that did happen. It wasn't in game 1, it was in game 7, and Magic did say in one of his memoirs that they was actually frightened and did not know how they was going to get out of the situation. But man, I have so many feelings about this episode. I love it so much. And one thing I got to talk about is like all the performances from all the performers, all the actors, actresses. I think they all did a great job. And I love that this started in 1984, but then jumps back to 1980, because that really does give you something to look forward to, because you're like, man, we see them 4 years later, but then it jumps back in time to the present day of 1980. Or that's where the characters left off at the end of season 1. But I'm just really, really curious on how we got there and how they're going to fill in the gaps. And Magic Johnson just seems like a completely different character. I mean, he was always a bit cocky and confident in the first season, but right now, man, it's flying through the roof. He's coming through creating all types of beef, and that's probably why they did not win the 1981 championship. And if I spoil that for you, I'm sorry. That's just real life history right there. They didn't win another championship until 82. And during this time, it was like back and forth between the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers will win one, Boston Celtics back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for a while now. And so they won in 1980, then they won in 82. It is really true that there was some tension between Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson, because Kareem was injured and he was not 100%. And during the first day of training camp, Magic did really see an opportunity to take the lead and take over the team. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing if you're just trying to come up and, you know, step up to the plate and do your job so you can get a W, but it's your attitude and mindset behind it. And in my opinion, he did not have the best mindset. However, I do have to give the brother some credit. Again, I do know who Magic Johnson is. Pretty much everybody does, but I don't know all the details. And I like that we're getting to know him in this series, but I do like the fact that we got a lot of drama with some of his children. The first one being Andre at first. And I gotta say, man, his lawyer was fine as hell. Oh my gosh. And I was so surprised when we saw in the middle of the episode that they were sleeping together. And she actually happened to be married as well. But the man did have a conscience. And I do like that. There are so many deadbeats out there in the world that just don't give a damn about their children, no matter what color or country you're from. It exists. But he didn't want to just pay them off and have them sign a piece of paper and be like, okay, hey, I am not responsible for this, so they'll be well off. And the thing is, he is young. At the time that he won the championship, he was only 20 years old, okay? I mean, you're still a grown man, but it's not like he was 36. He's 20, 21 years old. Of course, you're getting all this ass, all this money, all this press and things of that nature. And so I can kind of understand him having an immature mindset. But still, at that young age, he was like, man, I don't want to just have a seat after a child that's not being taken care of, that's not being a father. And he really did not want to sign on the dotted line. But I gotta say, towards the end of the episode, where the grandfather of the child was like, man, y'all bringing this cripple up in here like King Tut or whatever, I'll beat his ass. And of course, I'm paraphrasing like a mug right there. But I like how he stood up right there. And I also like the way that Magic Johnson's daddy stood up to, like, calm down now, calm down. I understand you upset. I understand you mad and you have every right to be, but I'm not just gonna let you beat on my son. That was very, very entertaining right there. I just have to be honest with you. But even when the grandparents left and they went into the kitchen or the hallway and both of Magic Johnson's charged them up like, oh, so the grandfather was right. You are a piece of crap and all this and all that. I like that. Give it to your son and let him know that he is being a dodo bird and he needs to step up to the plate. I love that they really did include that in this episode. And also, I love the fact that they brought Cook in, one of his ex-girlfriends, back like, hey, she's does not know what to think. She's trying to move on as she should. I respect her for that. Ladies, don't be giving all these dudes, these deadbeats, all these chances over and over and over and over and over again where they don't deserve it. But it was funny that Magic was still in her head. And I like the creativity behind the show when they infuse that in this episode of how people are stuck in other people's heads. Like in season 1 of this, where Magic was screaming at his couch, but Larry Bird was there. You had his girl Cookie or Cook right here and his mother over there. And he's like, I'm in your head. And he's screaming at the couch. Or also when he was sleeping with some escort or prostitute and he had the cast on his arm and she kissed it because he wanted to get some service because the cast was cutting her. And he was like, hey, can you finish the job? And she kissed the cast or whatever. The cast started talking to him as well. I think that is just great visual representation of how our minds play with us sometimes and how we talk to ourselves, because we all do that to some degree. And so again, I just thought that was very, very clever. Something that you don't see that often, but that's just, you know, a great job right there. But going back, not only was Magic's parents drilling him, so was Cook. Because at one point in the episode, Magic's mom came and was like, hey, I just need you to get back in my son's life, because sometimes a man needs a good woman to sit him down straight and get his mind right. And I was a bit confused because I don't think that she called him. I think later on he called her and she was like, hey, do you even think about the decisions that you make? Okay, you're about to have sex, you're horny. Do you think about what can come after that, all the repercussions and things of that nature? And Magic admitted it. He was like, no. And I like that. So again, not only is his parents dishing it to him, but also Cook. And again, on top of that, Kareem is doing that as well. Kareem is venting to his woman at the time, just like, you know, hey, but when he was not showing up to the game and then he did show up like, hey, we just had a baby boy. I like the fact that when he went around the corner and was talking to Magic, he was like, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend or stunt or front and like regret all of my accomplishments. However, my older children, they know the number 33 more than they know their father. I was like, damn, that is really deep right there. And it seemed like him having his extra child with this other woman kind of woke him up to that realization. I don't know the backstory as far as that's concerned, but again, I like that Magic is the main character. They're showing his flaws, they're showing all his mistakes, but he does have important, influential people in his life that is trying to send him on the right path, and that just makes for a great, dramatic, entertaining show. So I just got to give 2 thumbs up right there. Now, just some other great information. How big was Red's draft coup? This was maybe the 2nd or 3rd scene in this episode, and he really did watch the board, you know, getting that draft and doing trades. I'm reading some notes right here. It was amazing. He really did pull some type of false flag move and trick everybody to think that he was going to do this with his draft picks and this with his choice, but he flipped the script on everybody, and it ended up benefiting him in the end. They really didn't highlight that much in the episode. I'm just going off some information that was provided to me here, but it does provide great context, and I encourage everybody to read up on that and research it if you do want to. And we also got to give it to Paul Westhead, who is being played by Jason Segel. I like him as an actor, and he's doing a really good job here. And the success of the 1980 championship really did go to his head. And real talk, he really did come up with a system called the System, and everybody was making fun of it in this show, in this episode, and in real life, but it ended up working. And if I'm correct, I think that after he was done with the Lakers, and I think he went to go coach some college teams after the NBA, and he used the same system, and it ended up being like one of the highest scoring NCAA games or teams ever. Like, I still think he holds this record by them going down the court and wanting to shoot a shot within the first 10 seconds of them receiving the ball. Of course, as we saw in this episode, nobody was really entertained by this. There was all in Noah like, man, we just won a championship. Why are you trying to fix something that's not broke? But at the same time, that didn't really make sense to me, because I'm like, you lost your 2-star players. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was not at 100%, and also Magic Johnson had a knee injury that put him out for a number of weeks or months. And so, like, what else were you supposed to do? So it made sense to me. It kind of seemed fishy at the very beginning, but hey, you got to do what you got to do, and he did what he did. But even showing the injury, let's just go back to that training camp. That is where the beef started between Kareem and Magic Johnson when he got his cornea scratching. I would have said to myself, bro, you just need to dial it back, man. Get off this high horse that you're on right now. This is not becoming of you, and I don't like it. But again, I really do like the drama. It's making the show much better. But another thing I'm really liking about the show is the way that they're telling the story on the basketball court in the games. This is not just some typical broadcast. They have very creative ways of showing the talent on screen playing basketball. Right before Magic Johnson got his knee injured, he was like in a dreamlike sequence playing on the court himself, and then he fell down, and then all the lights came on. It was everybody was in the stadium, everybody was in the arena, and I really do like how they did that. That was very, very nice visually. So another 2 thumbs up right there. And of course, we got to talk about Jerry Buss, the owner of the team, played by John C. Reilly. He is doing an incredible job. I'm loving everything he has to dish out. He is not the best father, okay? And he is just really loose with this money and changing things around and trading this and trading that. And it's quite interesting. It did seem like it was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for him to want to give all of these players salary, but he was right to do that in this 1-year salary that he had to give everybody. I mean, it did work in his favor, and I have the numbers right here. Kareem's salary rose from $650,000 to $1 million. Wilk's salary rose from $350K to $600K. Nixon's salary rose to $65K to $400. Cooper's $35K to $250, and $250 to $350 for Chahonis' salary. And so that really did pay off in his favor, and it did in real life piss off a lot of other owners because they kind of had to follow suit. But this is real stuff right here that we're seeing unfold, and it's very, very entertaining. And what's crazy too is when Magic did go visit the team towards the end of this episode, it really did disrupt the chemistry. And I gotta say, I love the analogy of John C. Reilly breaking it down, narrating, talking about atoms and how they are useless by itself until they make bonds. And then that's where you have chemistry. And then they had chemistry. The team was winning. But then an unknown element come through, Magic Johnson, and it messes everything up. That was a distraction. So that really did happen in real life. And that's fascinating, too, that they put this in the episode. I'm just like, wow, I'm learning so much here. I'm learning so much. But guys, I really did enjoy this first episode of season 2. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm learning so much, and I cannot wait to see more. One ring don't make a dynasty. Yes, please give us as many seasons, as many episodes as we possibly can get, because I'm enjoying myself watching it and also gushing out at the seams right now with excitement on how entertained I am. If this is your first time here again, please hit that subscribe button. I will be here same time, same place next week with episode 2. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.